Hello everyone, and this is attempt number 3 now at this video because we keep creating this video, and every time we create it, some brand new news lands in our inbox, and we're having to re-record this video all over again. So take one of this video was actually just us reacting to news that apparently a senior individual in the Ekurhuleni,
No,
um,
Equini.
eThekwini,
We made
Durban,
this mistake.
Durban,
Yeah, that's right.
freaking Durban. So Durban's municipality has resigned, and they cited in their reasons for resigning our interview with Herman Mashaba. So we originally created a video that was basically, sorry, Herman, we didn't mean to cause you cuck. Then we were creating a second video, which is us redacting that, basically saying, actually, we did mean to cause you cuck because we've read some of the resignations that are coming out and the statements people are saying. And now we've got a third video, which we had to scrap that one. And it's just like, actually, there's just a broader problem with Action SA. So, with all that news, Ramon, I suppose we should take it from the top and see where we go.
So,
So,
so
news came out.
yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
So, news came out that a senior individual resigned from the Durban municipality due to our interview with Herman Mashaba. Ramon, you've got the resignation letter.
Right. So it is here. So basically, I forgot the person's name, Busisiwe. She was the chairperson of the KZN quorum or whatever of Action South Africa, and she's been considering resigning from Action South Africa for quite a while, for about 6 months, she says. And then the straw that broke the camel's back, and I quote that, was your interview with her Mashaba, because
Mm,
it's, I think, a signal to her that there's no real leadership in the party, and her Mashaba didn't really have clear principles and foundations to build a party upon, for the most part, which was a criticism that we had of him after we spoke to him. And so, therefore, Byron is responsible for this particular resignation, or at least for the final straw in the camel's
the
back.
final straw, yeah.
Yeah, that one. But this is not the only resignation from KZN. There are three other resignations
Yeah.
from Action South Africa in KZN. And this is turning into quite a political crisis for Action South Africa.
Mm. So that initial resignation, the reason why the first draft of this video was sorry, Herman, we didn't mean to cause you cuck, is because she just basically said that she had been thinking about it for a while, and after that interview, she just decided that for her child, she didn't want it to have a shift future, and yada yada yada. It's like some other rubbish, and she just didn't feel it was the place for her. She didn't really say why she had problems. She mentioned a couple of things like, they're not really a credible alternative to the ANC, and they've also got cater deployment and all the usual kind of rubbish that we've all heard. And so from that degree, we were just like, well, outgoing person of the DA of the Action SA, we're like, it's just what do you expect? You usually just expect people to moan and talk rubbish. So we didn't take it too much to heart. I mean, like I say, we were going to say sorry to him. But then this next letter came out. So we've been obviously monitoring the news, and we're like, okay, let's see if this picks up. Because Morning Shots has also been directly linked or accused as being the person that caused this. We're like, okay, let's see what the lamestream media say. And an article appeared in Times Live, which I think you've got.
That's right. It's in front of us.
And the article basically says that she left for her reasons. It basically kind of cites the whole reasons given in her resignation letter. But then it goes on to cite a second resignation, which I think you've got the specifics in front of you.
Right. So the chair, whatever the Utukela regional chairperson of Action Society, or Action South Africa rather, resigned 3 weeks ago, saying that he was disenchanted by the party's leadership. And I quote, he realized that Action SA is not what it presents itself to be. On numerous occasions, he's tried to caution SEDA members and the KZN PEC about the lack of empathy, the lack of consideration, understanding of ordinary people on the ground in KZN.
Hmm.
And he also cited classism, racism, and elitism in the party as being the reasons why he felt he had to leave Action South Africa.
Yeah, and now that's the reason why I then categorically revoke my sorry to Herman. And this is where I do step in and go, actually, if we cause you cack, good. Because those words triggered me. Um, I suppose for a few reasons. The first is he talked about the people on the ground in KZN. Mate, let's be honest. Like, you know who they're not talking about in KZN? Anybody in Phoenix or anybody in a white suburb. They're talking about the poor. You know that's who they're talking about. The Zuma people. Okay, so then the next thing he goes on to say is, look at it, it's racism. Right. Let's actually remind ourselves what the actual definition of racism is. Because it's like used so commonly these days that it's like, when in doubt, just throw racism in there. But I'm going to take for you the dictionary definition, which says the belief that different races possess distinct characteristics, abilities, or qualities, especially so as to distinguish them as inferior or superior. So it's the characteristics or abilities or qualities that make you either inferior or superior. What exactly is this twat going on about? Because he's like, oh, well, there's racism. How do you figure there's racism? Your leader is black. The characteristics he's displaying, I suppose you could class as capitalist, because Herman holds himself out as a capitalist. And we know that there are some intersectionalists and some people that are, a part of the whole critical race theory kind of school of thought that think anything that's to do with Western capitalism must inherently be racist. So maybe that's what they're talking about. And I'm inclined to believe that that's what they think, because they then go on to talk about classism and elitism, which are distinctly left wing type of politics. So that kind of really concerned me, because it highlighted something that we already mentioned, which is, if these guys don't actually have any policies, what distinguishes them from the EFF or the ANC? And I think what we're seeing right here is nothing. They are the ANC. Just listen to what they're saying. Read between the lines. They are basically the ANC. Do you have a different take?
Well, I think not. Yes, I do actually. I sincerely think that Action SA is clearly lacking leadership. Right. So we spoke before the recording, and you said Herman Mashaba or the leadership of Action Society, South Africa should have vetted these people coming into the party.
Correct.
And now these people are leaving, citing classism, citing racism, citing elitism as such. So the vetting processes are a bit shit, let's be really honest. But number two,
100%.
most importantly, you nip this in the bud as a leader before it comes out, before people resign, before they make public statements on your official letterhead, right? All these resignations happened on the official Action South Africa letterhead, which is
Mm-hmm.
a little bit odd. I mean, if you know someone's about to leave, you revoke access to those sort of things, as an example. And what we are seeing here for Action South Africa is either they're growing too quickly and can't control it, or they're trying to grow quickly, but they can't find the good people within their spheres to do the job adequately. And that all goes right to the top. And I think what we are seeing is a lack of leadership through a lack of clear policies, and most importantly, a lack of leadership in terms of people management. You don't hire someone as a chairperson of the district of Durban, which is a big deal, right? It's a big position, and allow them to just shit on your party and leave in public without any attempt to stop it or anything like that. It's very odd. There is no leadership in Action South Africa, and that's the point of this video, which is deeply concerning.
I completely disagree with everything you've had to say there. And I know that makes this more interesting for you. You like it when I
Well, you're
disagree with
wrong.
you.
You're clearly wrong.
Cool. So I'm going to highlight something that we mentioned last week. And we even discussed making a video on this, and we dumped it because we're like, let's give Herman the benefit of the doubt. And that was the news that came out on the 1st of August, that the ANC had recruited a former ANC Women's League leader to head the party's Mpumalanga structure. And that person was Toka Masani. Sorry, I'm not very good at these names. Anyway, this person apparently came from the ANC's Women's League in Mpumalanga. She was a municipal manager for one of the municipalities up there. And lo and behold, like everybody involved in the ANC, she was involved in a corruption scandal in 2004, which obviously saw her bleeding funds out of the municipality, like they always do. And ultimately, she's kind of fallen into disrepute with the party. So a lot of people kind of raise this as a question. Why the hell would Action SA take an ANC person in there? Like, ANC ideology is distinctly kind of like, they class it as center left. It's not center left, it's left wing. Herman's trying to go for a center, almost center right type party where it's like, capitalist in nature, it's real non racialism. Like, he calls it, a party for the people. So how do you square the circle where you go, these are my capitalist ideas, but I'm pulling all the communists in to run the place? Then a lot of people turn around and go, okay, Herman, look, we hear what you got to say, but don't you think you need to be a little bit careful about approaching all these ANC people and pulling them into the organization in case you just land up with ANC lights? And he's like, no, 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 be fine. But then what are we hearing out of Durban? They want cater deployment, ANC policy. They want to loot like there's no tomorrow, ANC policy. They want to cry racism, ANC policy. Like, it's just a version of the ANC. Now, how do you destroy that? How do you stop it? How do you control it? You go, we stand for and we believe this. And we did that interview with Herman. We gave him the opportunity to say, I believe in this. And he didn't do it. What he believes in is that the ANC needs to go. Like, congratulations, mate. You've just got the agreement of 52 million people in the country, bar 6 million that maybe vote for the ANC. Like, everybody believes the ANC needs to go. But so what? That doesn't make a political party. That makes a meme. That makes a slogan. Like, you can't fill the party with ANC people and just let them carry on. And if you are going to do it, put something in place to control these bloody people, because otherwise you get these bloody letters. So this brings us on to the third thing that's now happened. What's happened, Ramon, to the Durban Council of Action SA?
So the Durban, so the KZN, what does PEC stand for? People's Elective Conference. I don't know, something. The governing structure of Action South Africa in KZN has been dissolved by Action SA Senate in Johannesburg. Once again, Byron, you say you disagree with me, but your answer or your rebuttal to my lack of leadership statement basically reinforced what I was saying.
Maybe through a different way.
What Action South Africa is doing is they'd rather dissolve something because it's been infiltrated by ANC types, their words are mine, they'd rather dissolve it than manage it, which is a lack of leadership once again.
And then it kind of comes down to the next thing. Like, those were the reasons we redid our videos. And then as we were recording this, lo and freaking behold, another resignation in Durban. This time from a chairperson of some women's forum. Like, who gives a shit what this person has to say? Apart from one little line in there again that was just like, and it was like racism, classism, more ANC bullshit, man. More
No,
ANC.
it's much more than that. She argues that a woman in the organization was abused and traumatized, and the leaders within the party didn't speak to her whatsoever. They decided to speak to the accuser instead. And she also talks about the lack of leadership, where she's deployed to do, set up several branches, and then she's overlooked or put aside and told to go somewhere else to set up those branches. So in the end, she feels like a slave, and she refuses to be undermined or used any further. And this is a women's forum, right? And this is still Women's Month. Women's Month, not that it matters much.
Well, Women's Day was yesterday.
No, the whole thing is Women's Month. They should know that. Anyway, so if you take all four of these stories into account, the dissolving of the PEC, the resignation of 3 or 4 people that are actually quite important to the organization, you're starting to see a pattern here. And the pattern is lack of leadership, lack of clear principles, the inability to set down rules and policies for those people, and a complete lack of people management as well. None of which bodes very well for a political party that wants to run the country one day.
I suppose the thing that really annoys me about this is, like, we sat there on the first take of this video, we were like, why are the people resigning? Like, they're mentioning things, and was like, is it that Herman was like too much, like, I'm going to help some whiteys and BE isn't very good and I'm not going to expropriate all their land? Is it? And we sat there questioning it, like, is this the problem? And mate, I got to say, I think that is the problem. Why do I say that? I know you focused on the allegation she made about sexual conduct and stuff like that. And I'm not going to pass comment, mate. I'm not qualified to do it. I haven't done any of the investigations. I actually know nothing about the allegation, so I'm not even going to go there. I'm going to say if she was a victim of sexual misconduct, that's terrible, and the police should get involved. With that being said, there is a line in her resignation letter that just irked me, and I'm going to read it. And it says, if this party fails to accommodate and understand the small group of diverse people that the party has now, what will happen to this country once they have more power? The poor and vulnerable will continue to be left on the sidelines. We only matter during campaign season, and once they get what they want, it will be a life as usual again. So, what have you got there? Yet again, the poor and marginalized. Like, again, I really think that this kind of like capitalist type thing he wants, more investment in the country, pull back the skills. You don't have those people, mate. He might believe that, but I don't reckon his leadership team kind of have any idea to follow that, and I don't think he has the policy even to articulate what that will look like. And so because they don't know what that will look like, they're just assuming it's just going to be another like 30 years of misrule and misappropriation of funds. And she actually says that. She says, I can't afford to waste another 30, to wait 2 years to waste another 30 years, which she says, when we get rid of the ANC and then we just have the ANC, ANC through a different proxy. So I don't know, man. This whole thing annoyed me.
For some reason, like I don't give a shit about Actions South Africa, if I'm honest. I just think that it's important for you, the viewer, to look at all this evidence and you need to decide for yourself whether a vote for Action South Africa will give you what you actually want in life. For now, I'm extremely skeptical of it. I am very concerned about the leadership positions. I'm very concerned about the lack of leadership. And also, I'm very concerned about, let's just say, the type of people that have resigned. Because I'm not going to lie, the spelling in all of these resignations are shocking. And some people might say, yes, it's not their first language, whatever the case might be. And that's fine. But you know what? If you're a professional organization, you should spell things right. I don't care if it's not your first language, get someone to proofread it for you. Like that little detail, a lot of things in the macro happens in the micro, right? And the micro
Correct.
is representative of the macro. If you can't get
Correct.
spelling right in a resignation letter, who knows what other fuck ups are happening that are magnitudes worse than what we see as a spelling error. So, just on that, be very concerned about Action South Africa. They might not actually be a force to be reckoned with at all come 2024 if this continues.
Yeah. And what I would say is just let's not forget, these people are in power right now, right? They have power. They're part of coalition governments up and down the country. So it's a little bit concerning when we see this type of thing and when we see so many individuals making the same type of claims, all in the Durban kind of municipality or the Durban kind of, the KZN Zulu province type mentality. It's just fundamentally everywhere in that kind of district. And for me, that's highly problematic, mate. Like it's just really problematic. And if that is indicative of what you're going to get everywhere else, then I think what you can assume is that Action SA will be nothing more than a splinter cell organization of various competing interests depending on the province they're in. So you could probably look at Action SA in the Western Cape and they'll be like, oh, look, it's DA Light. And then you're going to see them in Mpumalanga and it will be EFF Light. And then you're going to see them in like KZN and it's going to be ANC Light. Like, how's that helping anybody? Like, yeah, okay, if Herman's vision is to get rid of the ANC at all costs, he's going to achieve it. Is it in the best interest of the country? No, I don't think so, man. Look, and I suppose the reason it irks me is because I really want to believe in what he has to say, and I really want to believe that he's got a goal and a future, and that Action SA is going to be, really good and do everything it promises. But my brain has to also be, look at the facts and be logical, and I just have to say, like, I just don't see it, man. Suppose that's all I can say. I just don't see it. I just don't see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Well, hopefully Herman doesn't take all of us for a Thank you, Nelson. He's back from his overseas holidays. Anyway, don't be taken for a puss, everyone. Thanks for watching. Cheers.
Thanks, everyone. Cheers.